Hello and welcome to a brand new show here on the Field of 68 Media Network. This used to be the DTF podcast, but we decided since we did not have somebody with the first initial F, that calling it the DTF pod with three grown men that are happily married was probably not the best idea. So we decided to bring in the one and only Randolph Childress and rebrand this pod as the Shooters Shoot podcast because that's apparently all we do. We discovered today, Randolph, that Terrence Oglesby has his jersey retired in the rafters at Cleveland High School in Cleveland,
Ho,
Tennessee.
ho, 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 ho. Bradley Central High School.
Get it
Bradley
right.
Central High
See,
School.
Cleveland's down the road. We don't talk about them.
I heard they were better than you guys.
That's hilarious.
Hey,
We're making jokes
Tio,
today.
Tio, can we go back to the name? Who's verifying that Rob can shoot? Like, what do we
I
got
can.
to shoot to? Who's stamping that? Are you validating that?
They-
He
when
should
they
be.
talk-
He
hey,
should be. Ask
so
him what his record is against me, RC. Ask him his shooting record
we
against me.
we have two shooters and a dude who takes different shots. Who takes different shots.
To
So it could
be
be three
fair,
shooters, but the context of these shots needs to be a little bit different.
There you go.
From what I know, Doster likes warm vodka shots. Warm vodka shots is Doster's go-to. So if you like to party, make sure you get that bottle of Grey Goose out of that college kid's couch. You can hang out with Rob.
On that note, if it's ever your birthday, stay the hell away from Terrence Oglesby. It's a bad idea to be around him if it's your birthday. No, in all seriousness, we wanted to bring you on, RC, because we know you know what you're talking about. It's fun hanging out with you. It's fun chatting ball with you. So we are here. And for the record, I said it's a shooters podcast, not a makers podcast. So you guys are the shot makers. I'm the shooter on this pod.
I like it.
We have a lot to get to. We got to talk about Louisville rolling over Kentucky. We got to talk about the ACC because I know T.O. needs to flex a little bit about that.
Not just me.
Well, look, you're the one that's most excited about it, man. We talk Florida and Michigan, these big lineups, but I want to start with this because I think Mike LaTulip last night on Field of 68 After Dark made an interesting point. And T.O., I'll tee you up on this first. I think that this is the best college basketball has ever been since I've been covering it. Between the Euros coming over, the guys staying because of NIL, this freshman class, like I think the level of talent in college basketball this season is the highest I have ever seen it since I've been doing this, and I've been doing this since 2009.
I think there's an argument to be made there. And the reason I say that is not only do we have a lot of these older players that are sticking around, these fringe first round guys are staying in college because they're getting paid a lot of money. So, like, you look at that, plus the fact that this is one of the best freshman classes that we've had ever. And it just makes it for such a good product and so fun. And like, I remember like when Kevin Durant was a freshman at Texas, like he'd have games where he didn't really have to work that hard. Like Michael Brown Jr. plays against Kentucky, has to work his butt off and still is effective. So like there's talent every single night. The only downside I can even think of, guys, and I think like you guys will attest to this, the only downside I can think of this year's college basketball season is the fact that how some teams are scheduling when they're not playing these marquee non-conference events.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have to beat teams by 30 in order to position themselves for the NCAA tournament. That's the only downside I can find. Outside of that, the talent's as good as it's ever been. The coaching right now, I think, has been really, really good. It's just the mix of older guys that were fringe first rounders and the talent pool of freshmen to go with that has been out of this world good.
Is it sustainable would be a question. I don't disagree with anything, Tio said, and I agree. It's a hell of a time to be a college basketball fan. It reminds you of the, 80s or 90s when younger guys didn't stay and you had first rounders on the bench and all that. But now that's been replaced with what Tio said, the examples, older guys coming back, fringe first rounders. And then, like we said, I don't know if this is an argument or not, but I think this is the collection of the best freshman group of guys we've ever seen. And so can we sustain that? Can that happen year in and year out? It can't. But the game is fun. I think it'll bring more parity. And I think all of that, the house settlements are part of that. We talked about that. I don't think we can lament that enough of how the settlement putting like somewhat of a cap on collegiate athletics for some teams. And it's I think it's helped like the ACC this year. We'll see if it hurts the SEC in some of that aspect. And so we'll see how that everybody's dealing with roster turnover, mid majors, high majors, but what a fun time. I mean, you got high major kids going down to mid majors, becoming stars, some working their way back up. So it's definitely a great time for the sport.
Yeah, and I think to that point, RC, I think that this is a really good play. I think that the NIL and the transfer portal has actually helped college basketball
Yes.
overall, big picture. I think it's been a net positive. Now,
Yes.
there are absolutely things that we need to clean up in this process. I think you need to make it more incentivized to stay at the school that you're at. I think we need to find a way to be able to make sure that the mid majors that develop players get some kind of reward for developing those players, and not just, signing them, turning them into $1 million college athletes and then losing them completely. And I think we need to find a way to ensure that mid majors have a seat at the table when it comes to the field of 68 and all that. And T.O., I know that you would make a point of this. We got to find a way to be able to make sure that the Euros that are coming over are actually want to be students and not just coming over to be pros and play professional U23. But overall, T.O., I think all of this has been a net positive for the sport.
Yeah, I think so. And my point has been this whenever I'm discussing these matters with, there's a lot of old heads where I live at in the state of South Carolina. It just ruined the game. These guys get paid. They're entitled to just ruin the game. Guys, like the same places are getting the same players.
Yeah.
Like that's been my point. Like Kentucky has always gotten great players. Louisville has always gotten great players. Carolina, Duke, always gotten great players. I actually would argue that it's opened it up to the other schools. That like you look at, the Oklahomas of the world. You look at like they're able to get some of this top-notch talent. I mean, I'm just randomizing a school, so I know Trey Young, Blake Griffin. Don't come at me sooner or whatever. I get it, but you get my point. Like Ole Miss is getting guys. So in my opinion, it's just opening up the availability of these players to some of the other schools. And while the investment is still really good at those top level programs, and I'm talking blue bloods, like the other schools have a shot to land some of these guys now too. And I think that really makes it entertaining. But just like always, it's always been the blue bloods that get the players, and they're putting in more financial investment. So that's what's going to happen. But it does open up some doors, for that next tier or tire, that next tier down that's going to, have availability for some of these guys.
The Shooter Shoot podcast, my man is just sitting here pretending like Buddy Hield never existed at Oklahoma. Unbelievable, T.O.
You know what I'm saying.
Come
You
at
got
him.
what I mean.
Come at him, Oklahoma. Let's
Yep.
talk about the ACC, because I do think it's
We should.
an interesting conversation to have right now. I think the top of that league, I said this last night, RC, the top of that league is better than the top of any other league in college basketball. Give me Louisville and give me Duke against any other league's two best teams. Is that too hot of a take? Am I getting a little
Throw
too close to
Carolina in
some
there,
of that
man.
one?
No, I don't. And I think you can add North Carolina in there.
Mhm.
And again, we'll see if State can, they need to play against another level of competition before we can properly evaluate NC State to see if they fit in that conversation as well with the expectations we have of them. So no, you're not far off with that. And that's a pretty accurate take, I think.
Have you had NC State yet, Randolph?
I got them against VCU.
I
Come
got them. I got them tonight.
Yeah.
So like I'm really excited, man. They're sharing the basketball. They're huge too.
Yes.
Like I was actually talking to an assistant coach in the league, and the size, and Coach Moten at NC Central said the same thing. Like the size difference now between the top of Division One and basically the bottom 6 or 7 leagues of Division One it's never been wider. But I do think the middle is starting to get a little bit bigger. But I'm off track. You look at NC State, I would throw them in the mix. They have the size to do that, except for at the 5 spot. North Carolina, I'd throw them in the mix. The record for the league right now, if you take Boston College out of the equation, like it looks really, really good. And the worst thing that can happen at this point is Boston College beats somebody in conference play. The rest of the league has been awesome.
46-3, T.O.
46-3. That's pretty good.
46-3, the ACC,
And one of those losses was a 1-point loss in Detroit
overtime.
in overtime. Like, and
Oh.
that's one you want Forbes to get.
Yeah.
Because like it's been that close for so many years.
That's
But
been
like,
the difference. That's if that game right there has been a microcosm of his coaching tenure there. It's just that close to getting it done to get that signature when you need, and then you're unable to pull off. But man, they look good. They competed. I started to come in today and pull a Mike Latulip last night with the grin he had last night talking about his Illini.
boy.
Knicks couldn't pull it out, man. That was a hell of a game though. Fun game to watch.
All right, so let me ask you guys this about the top of the ACC. We saw Louisville last night roll over Kentucky. They were up by, I think, 17 at one point. Kentucky cut it to 4. Looked like Louisville lost their legs a little bit towards the end of that game. But does this change the way that you view that Louisville team and Louisville program moving forward? Or is this RC just kind of, it's who they are and it's what we expected?
No, I have them as a potential Final Four team. I think that they're that good. Uh, I have them winning the league only because I felt like their experience was the deciding factor even with Duke. I thought last year Duke had the right mixture of veteran guys with their freshmen. They had a great freshman class, we know, and then they had the right with Sion James and those guys. They had the right mixture of guys, Malik Brown there. This year, I think it's more youth. They've had some guys, Isaiah Evans and these guys returning, but some of these there's a sophomore guys still, and not all those guys. They're in a different role. So I give a slight edge right now to Louisville. As we all know, they got elite shooting. And I'm not surprised by that. What I wanted to see early and what we've seen already is production that they're getting from their rotation of big men. And if they can continue that and even take another step to that, then I think the ceiling is high as you want it to be. They're a championship caliber team.
I can't find an argument. I was watching, Kentucky would make their little runs in the first half to like keep it close.
Right.
And I just can't get over the fact I can't get over the fact that like if you make a shot against Louisville, there's no home run trots.
No.
And there was a time there, I think it was like between the under 8 timeout and the under 4, where it was like Kentucky's tongues were dragging the ground, man. Like they were so tired. And like Aberdeen shot a couple of threes that hit like the bottom front of the rim. Like Louisville's in incredible shape, except for like that last little bit. I guess they ran out of juice, but like their ability to just get out and push and play with 10. They played 10 last night, and I didn't think they exhausted their rotation. They had a couple more guys that could have played minutes.
Yeah,
Like
Kason Pryor played 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I know. He's not back yet.
No,
He's not
no.
back. He's getting there. He's not back yet.
Did you see his tweet last night after the game, by the way?
No.
He said, I did no work, but the group project got an A+.
But that's the crazy part about it. Like imagine where he's going to be come January, come February when you get him back at full strength. And what he'll be able to do with that group. And you throw him in the mix, and as he begin to get healthy, the sad part about it was so unique about that group is they're not dependent upon one person.
Oh,
I mean, they're just so much depth. There's so much rotation of shooting. They don't need, they don't need Ryan Conwell to score 20 a night. They're not relying on that. They got so many guys, and that team is loaded. If they defend and rebound and play at that pace, the one thing they're going to have to make the adjustment is when they're not making shots, they can also shoot themselves out of it playing at that pace and allow you to come back. But it's almost like an NBA game. They can run off in 1 minute, like 15 in one run, but they also, when they're struggling, can shoot themselves into allowing the other team to make a run as well. But good luck trying to keep up with that group. And we're not talking about I know we're going to talk about Kentucky in a second. Kentucky had guys that can make shots. Louisville looked like a team that just had flat out shooters. It just looked like night and day. Like, okay, are you going to really rely on some of the Kentucky guys night out? Are you fear them beating you from the 3-point line? Some of their guys, and I don't know. I don't fear them as much as I fear the Louisville shooters. And again, I think Kentucky will be really good as well.
I think that's exactly
Louisville
it.
was just better.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were just a better team, and I don't see that changing. I don't care how long Kentucky and Louisville play together. Louisville's just a better team. And that's crazy considering the amount of money that Kentucky had at their disposal. That's crazy. And Louisville's budget's not small. I'm not saying that. I think they're around 13 to 15 million or something like that. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe even lower than that. I don't know. Like Kentucky, there's some good players, but that's a great point about like not having, shooters. It's a bunch of guys who have the potential to knock down some shots. The physicality of that game. The big point, and this would be my last point about the game, but like the versatility of their centers at Louisville is crazy. Like Sanandafur, excuse me, pronunciation killer right here. Like lob threat, vertical spacer, shot blocker, long wingspan. Ali Khalifa made a pass at the 7-minute mark to Ryan Conwell. I don't know how that ball squirted through, and like he just ended up with another layup. Kason Pryor, whenever he's back at full strength, he provides some scoring, and he could play some 5 because he's 6'10", 6'11". So like how you can run your offenses differently according to what centers in the game is a nightmare to prepare for. So We didn't really know what to expect. A lot of people didn't, who don't have access to synergy like us three, but like those guys are really good, and the collective intelligence and the collective versatility of that group and how you can run things that's a nightmare.
Yeah. Are you worried at all about the way that they defend? Is that because I think Kentucky kind of got a lot of what they wanted, especially in the second half of that game. But I think some of that was just Louisville's legs were tired, and Kentucky's not a bad basketball team at all. Are you worried about that? Is that something that we should be concerned of?
When they were making their runs, was Frew in the game?
Sometimes, yeah. But it was also when Kentucky was making their runs, it was like Colin Chandler hits 2 contested threes in a row, Jalen Lowe hits 2 contested threes in a row. It wasn't like they were getting bad.
Hey, good players are
shots.
going to make good players are going to make shots, man.
Yeah, we're saying Louisville's better. We're not saying like if Kentucky wasn't Kentucky and as talented as they are, I'd be more concerned. I mean, that Kentucky team is really good. I think the biggest difference is like we talked about is like you got guys. The problem I think Kentucky's going to have is how do you put all the parts together? It reminds me of the Carolina backcourt. We're talking about guys that are better with the ball in their hands.
Mhm.
Takeaway is better with the ball in his hands, but that's all Jalen Lowe, for example, has ever done. So now you're going to ask guys like that, that are accustomed to having the ball in their hands, they're going to have to play without it. And that's not always easy. And that's where Jalen Lowe kind of controls the game, like his greatest strength is drawing fouls, getting in the paint, creating havoc, drawing fouls. Um, how they manage that throughout the course of a game, and again, to beat upper echelon talent games like Louisville, the elite, the big time games, they'll overpower and overwhelm most teams.
Yeah, I think Louisville. This is the way that I would kind of define it. Like we saw last year with Arkansas, someone like a Nelly Davis come in, right, and it's a little bit of the wrong fit in terms of his role. And I think what Louisville did a really good job of is identifying the role that they needed and then going and finding the best player for that role. Whereas it feels like Kentucky went out and just said, okay, this is the highest guy on our list. Let's just go get him and we'll figure it out later. And I think that they're still kind of figuring it out. And it doesn't help when you don't have Jaden Quaintance, and it doesn't help when Otega Owe plays one of the worst games that he's played as a Kentucky Wildcat. So I think that they'll find a way to get better. It's also, to be fair, there were 23,000 completely insane Louisville fans in that building. And I think that Kentucky like walked in and it was a little bit of a punch in the face for a lot of those guys because not all of them have experienced that level of road environment. Like Jalen Lowe's played high level basketball. Do you think Pitt ever walked into a building that was like that ever? I don't think so. Denzel Aberdeen played in a national title game. Do you think he ever walked into a building like that?
That was 3 years of frustration, all
Yes.
culminated in one night of excitement.
Right.
And that was like, I mean, that lid was ready to pop. And they went 18-2 in the ACC last year. They started slow. Now the hype is there, combined with the frustration of the last 2 years. There was one clip. I think Michael Brown hit a three in the left corner, and they did a great job of panning to the crowd. And it was like there was one Louisville fan who's going nuts, and he's thanking God. He's saying, like, we are finally back. We're finally competitive. It was just that was 3 years of I'm pissed off. They really,
You know how this from calling games. That was the first time. I bet you if we called Billis today, I wonder if you could hear each other. You can hear it next to him. If him and Schumann can hear each other next to each other. There was times where it felt like you couldn't hear them. And they're talking right into the mics. It was insane environment. And let's add the coaching little tiff that was rumored to have happened between
was great.
guys. Like that's a deep, it's deep rivalry all around, man. What a great game to play early in college basketball, and we were not disappointed in that, man. And congratulations to both teams. And Kentucky's still really, really good. I mean, but right now, here in early November, Louisville just looks a little better.
I did get one text from a buddy of mine that grew up in Kentucky and is a Kentucky fan that I forget exactly. It was along the lines of I already miss Kenny Payne. So Illinois, Texas Tech.
Kenny was so bad he's still catching strays 2.5 years later.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad, man. It's bad. Just shows you how quickly it can flip if you got the right kind of fan base and the right kind of support. As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. With media days and on-site events the last 2 months, travel for me has been crazy. Luckily, I had Huel. This month, Huel launched in Target stores nationwide. Both of their ready-to-drink products are now available. The Black Edition has 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, and is gluten-free for under $5 a meal. The Daily Greens Edition, which I have here, peach hibiscus flavored, was developed by registered nutritionists and dietitians with 42 vitamins and minerals and superfoods, with just 25 calories, 4 grams of fiber, and only 1 gram of sugar. When you're busy with work, travel, children, and just life in general, Huel makes sneaking in meals quick, easy, and most importantly, healthy. Pick them up in Target stores nationwide, or if you're a first-time customer, get 15% off your purchase with the promo code F68 at Huel. That's HUEL.com/F68. Illinois beats Texas Tech. I'm very in on the Illini guys. I'm very in. I love Kai Boswell. I don't know if he's the best player in college basketball, but I don't know if there's 5 players that will help you win more than Kai Boswell will help you win in college basketball. Andre Stojakovic comes off the bench. He had 23. RC, am I right to be fired up about Illinois? Like, are they real?
They looked apart last night against a really good Texas Tech team that I know we all love. Credit to those guys. If anything, the only concern, and again, that I would have with them would be depth. They got to get completely healthy in depth going forward throughout the year when they get into conference play. But when they're good, they're capable of beating anybody. Big guards, physical guards, the ability to switch and do different things, man. This is a really, really talented team that wouldn't surprise many. You know, before it was kind of Purdue, and then we thought everyone else. Illinois looks the part where I think you can put them in that conversation.
I think I'm not going to say surprise, but like we were talking about the Balkan block and the Balkan Brotherhood and all that stuff. CJ Moore has never taken a victory lap so vigorously as he is with Keaton Wagler. I got a couple of texts the other day.
Wagler.
Same difference. The guy Wagler. The guy, I get 2 text messages. I didn't even bother responding, and I always respond to CJ. I'm like, I'm not giving him the pleasure of running it in. No, I mean, Stojakovic coming off the bench, he's been a little banged up. Good for him to come back and have such a good game, but you know, they're not going to turn the ball over a ton. They did last night. They had 13 turnovers, but like they're just solid. And to be honest with you, Underwood likes to manipulate the game, and you know, when you have guys that are older that understand how to play and play together, like that those things are going to help. And pretty efficient night from those guys. So at least from the entire floor, not from the 3.
Yeah, their Euros look good, man. Like the one concern that you always have with those guys coming over is how quickly is the adjustment gonna take?
It is an adjustment now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like the game is slower over there, and a lot of those guys, they're playing with point guards who never make the wrong mistake. Like they never make the wrong.
They play with more traditional point guards over there.
Yes.
That's gonna, you know, when their style of playing in Europe, as opposed to coming over here, you got scoring guys. They may not the timings, the short roll pass. A lot of those guys are they playing short roll and they're catching it. They're able to like I think Merkovich would be great with that. Like Mitch Mack problem, you run ball screens to him, and I like what they can be. Again, I want to see depth, and they cannot have any injuries. They just got to stay pretty solid. But I love their size of that team. I love what they can be if they continue to be better. But a hell of a win. And even though it was at home, but it's like Kentucky. I feel like the same way about Texas Tech I do Kentucky. No shame in losing that game. I don't feel any less about them than I did coming into the game.
But they played on the road, man. We had two
Credit to
teams
him.
go on the road
Credit
into
to him.
like ridiculous environments, and it was great for college basketball.
Amazing.
Nobody should be looking at either of those teams and thinking
No.
any less of them, because if you do, like if we're here like, fuck Texas Tech, fuck Kentucky, they're terrible, drop them out of top 25, no one's going to play those games.
Right.
You keep it within a couple of possessions on the road against a top 10 team at this time of the year. That's a good performance, right? Am I crazy?
Same for Wake.
Let's talk about Wake then.
I
It's good
think
for the
the only
goose is good for the gander, Randolph.
Yeah, I'll say this. My only concern with Wake is front line. I think you've got to figure out a way to get some production out of the front court. And Omaha Blues got to figure out a way. Is he's going to be the guy, and not just forget the expectations. 5-star kid coming in. It's what production can they get out of him? I think I love their guard play. Their guard play will be there, and I think they'll match up with just about anybody. They made shots last night. They didn't consistently make shots coming in. They struggled a little bit from behind the three. But what are they going to get? Spillers is going to battle you, but he's not going to be able to hold up against 5 men. He's just too small. He's a warrior, but he's not going to be able to hold up. And I think it puts so much pressure on Omaha Blue. Juke Harris is the real deal. I think he'll be considered some all ACC honors by the time the end of the year is over with.
Mhm.
But I worry
Miles
about.
Colvin was good.
Yeah, no, they're good. The guard plays overall, I thought was really good. I just worry about the makeup of the team, the size. Um, Omaha Blues got to be more consistent player for them, and then I think you can feel really good about them. If not, because if they're gonna be forced to double people inside, then you're relying upon. It was a perfect matchup too. I thought Michigan with that bigger lineup. That's the one concern you have with the bigger guys. Can they match up against the small ball lineup? Keep guys out of the paint, and the weight guards lived in the paint against them. So when they play against a team like you can't double Louisville, you're not getting into those shooters and teams like that. So once
Yeah.
teams get an idea of that and you force to double and you got a game plan, it changes everything. But they've got to find a way to get some scoring out of their front guy, and then they got to consistently make shots.
Man, you could see the pieces with Michigan though.
Yeah.
And like that team, I think that team's going to be good. They had some guys that didn't play as well as they usually do, but Adai Mara, like finding a home there in Middle America, he didn't like Los Angeles all that much due to too many distractions. Let's move to Ann Arbor where it's so cold you're going inside. You're not outside at Michigan, you're inside, especially this time of the year. I thought he was awesome.
Can I ask you guys a question about Michigan?
Yeah.
So I don't understand. Explain to me the thought process of playing Yaxel at the 3 when you have Yaxel, Morris Johnson, and Adai Mara on the court together. Like I feel like Yaxel Lendenberg is going to be at his best as like a college 4, right? That's why you get him, because of the skill, because of the passing, because of the rebounding, because of what he can do defensively.
And can I add to that, Rob? Because I'm
Yeah.
with you on that. I have a little bit of concern about that lineup. That's big, but I don't.
It looks cute in warm-ups.
It's. We'll see how productive that is, and it was a great contrast, going against Wake. But I don't know. Can you get away with that defensively? And as long as Mars in the game, he's protecting the rim. He did a hell of a job doing that. Um, but with your guards and Elliot Cadeau, and he's at his best when the ball's in his hands and he's in a ball screen. He's not overly fast. He's not his superpower is just finding guys, delivering the ball. And he does that great. But I don't know if they shoot it well enough. And to your point, Rob, Lindenberg has got to be. He's a prototypical 4. And how much they can start that lineup, but those guys almost play 30 minutes. I mean, total. And I'm wondering at some point will they be able to find the right mixture of those 3 kind of playing those 2 spots and keep it going at a high level.
And that might be what it is, RC. Like it
Right.
might just be they're starting them to keep egos happy and then
Keep
they just-
everybody happy.
and
Yeah.
then they rotate 2 of them through, because I don't think there were a ton of minutes they played together. There was a little bit of foul trouble, but you got a guy that could have been a top 20 pick, and it just felt like Yax was standing in the corner the whole game. And I'm like, is that the best use of a guy that has that skill set?
I thought he'd be more in the ball screen, maybe a 4 or 5
Yeah.
ball screen, something like that they would do more like they did last year, and we just didn't see it.
Can you imagine a 4 or 5 ball screen with Yaxel Lindenberg and Adai Mara? Like, how do you stop that?
Morez Johnson, man. That dude, he is huge.
Yeah.
Not just I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to beat them up, but it's not like I think they out rebounded Wake by 7 or 8.
Yeah, it wasn't as much as you thought.
And not only that, I think Wake Forest like smacked the offensive glass.
Wade got 25 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, so it's like now a lot of that's a Daimara coming up to contest Call Meese and those guys, so they're getting out of position a little bit. Those crackback blockouts are tough, but like yeah, I'm curious if you're going to be that big, you better freaking board. And I didn't think they boarded very well.
Are you in on Michigan being able to win the Big Ten? I don't.
No, not win it. I think being the top third.
Is it still Purdue for you?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at too. We'll get a better answer with Purdue on Thursday because
To be the man, you have to beat the man.
they're going down to Tuscaloosa to take on a Nate Oates team that is kind of specifically built to mess with them. So, the three big lineup for Michigan is something that we'll see how that ends up working out. Same thing with Florida, right? Like Florida's going with this three, but I'm just not.
How about Florida State?
I'm not. Well, I do want to talk about them here in a second, but I'm not sold on Florida. I mentioned it last night to you. I don't know where you stand on it, but I think what it took to replace the guards that they had is going to be a lot. Are you worried about them?
I mean, like they're not going to win a national championship. I think they're going to be good. It's going to be a team that competes every night. They're not going to win a national championship. You can talk about controlling the glass, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like Florida's bigs will do it. I think like if you're Michigan, you're looking at Florida, you're like, that's feasible, right? Like
That's what they're trying to do.
yeah, that I could do that. Um, the guards are just not as and like Boogie Flan had 4 steals last night, 18 points. Xavier Lee, it's got like 36 minutes, 6 assists, didn't shoot it well. Like I just whenever you go Ivy League to high major, I mean, like he's crafty, but he's narrow. And like high
Yes.
major dudes, man, like that's a different ball game as far as just body size. Like I was tiny and I'm 200 pounds. like like Xavier Lee's what, buck 65, buck 70 at 6'4".
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a different ball game physically. And
So you said
that's
what you're
what makes
saying is the meal plan at Princeton wasn't good enough?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's just not where their emphasis is at Princeton. It's changing the world, not changing a basketball game.
I thought to me, he spent a lot of time last year, too much time on the floor, getting down there with the trees at the rim, and he
You
hits the
can't do
ground.
that, man. Oh,
And
it drives me
another guy we were talking about, Jalen Lowe is like that at Kentucky. I think he's a guy that spends too much time on the ground, and that's just his style of play. I think they both attack the rim. It's part of is what makes them good, but it also hurts you in that aspect with them. My concern with Florida is that where they were preseason ranked, was they third coming into the year?
Mm-hmm.
The conversation of repeating, will it be too much? It reminds me of Carolina the following year. They were preseason number one. And it reminds me of UConn, after their national championship. They'll be good. They'll figure it out. There's too much talent. They'll be good. They just are not title contenders right now. And it takes time to get there. I don't like the bigger lineup. I mean, they had dudes, their guards, they had 3,000 point scorers and just killers last year. They don't have that. And this big lineup is okay. I think a lot of teams like it's like they're copying the NBA the small ball era is kind of phasing out for some teams in the high major level. Everybody's gotten big. I think Duke did that to the ACC. We were talking about that in general, and I've asked coaches that Duke overwhelmed everybody last year with positional size, and
yes.
everyone in that league has come back this year and has gotten positional size and gotten bigger and better. And I think a lot of the top teams in college ball have just gotten back to that. And so you're seeing that with Florida. Does it work? It could, but I think when it comes to the higher level matchups that we see with them, they're going to struggle. And they struggled against Florida State for most of the night with their spacing and inability to contain the dribble.
Yep. I do think with the Gators, you shoot better than 21% from three is probably going to end up happening with that group this season. And once they start making more threes, that they'll probably like the eye test will be a little bit more impressive with them, make some more shots. I don't think Xavier Lee is going to be 2 for 11 from three every single night. I think he's too good of a shooter for that. So that might change it. But I do think it is important with Florida to kind of change the expectations and the narrative of where their ranking is, right? Like, yeah, you got to put the reigning national champions that have that much talent returning somewhere in the top five. but they're probably not a top 5 team. And if they just end up as like a top 15 team that makes the second weekend, that's probably a good season for them. It's not a disappointment.
But Rob, can I mention this stuff before we say they're returning so much? I think they lost so much. I don't. Where is all this? They returned so.
They bring back Tommy Hawk, and they bring back Alex Condon, and they bring back some of their guys on their front line. And
Chinyelu,
yeah, they bring back the same frontline guys, but I thought the guards was what drove that thing last year. In a sense,
no, it was. But my point is, like, in this era of college basketball, when you expect to lose everybody, and you bring back 2 guys that could end up playing in the NBA, and then you add players like Boogie Fland was like a top 20 transfer, and Xavier Lee was a top 20 transfer, and you on paper, I get why the hype is there and the expectations are there, but now that we've seen it, it's like, okay, this is probably more of a top 15 team than a top 5 team, and that's I understand why people ranked them where they did. You kind of got to do that with a team that's
top 25 team.
They look a lot better if Aberdeen was still there.
But that is absolutely true. Should have
paid
$2 million. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop. There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that. Florida State, we got to talk about Florida State, though, because like Luke Lux, T.O., that's your guy. And he went from being a team that didn't shoot any threes under Leonard Hamilton to now I think like 52% of their field goal attempts are from beyond the arc. They went from being a team that wouldn't even consider looking at Terrence Oglesby as a player to being a team that would say, that is our number one recruit. We got to get that guy. We shoot, and that guy's going to get him up.
I didn't get that phone call.
Hey, T.O., you wasn't tall enough for that.
I wasn't tall enough, long enough. Like those dudes, like Leonard had a type now. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. No, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a little surprised they played with them as close as they did. I give it that Florida's a top 20-ish team. Like, and the guys they brought in, like Alex Steen's a Division II transfer. Chauncey Wiggins has been more potential over production his entire career. He's never really gotten it going. Leger Jones, like, good player. Like, he didn't have a great game last night, but you look at the potential to hit shots, and buddy, they were hoisting them. 34 threes, literally half their shots were from 3. That didn't used to be the case. It was like, let's get it in 15 feet, shoot it, and then I got some 7'4" guys and a whole bunch of athletes at 6'10" that's going to go get it. Man, a lot of fun game, fun times coming for Florida State. It's going to be entertaining. I don't know how many wins it's going to get this year, but they're going to be in games they're not supposed to because of that volume of 3. And we talk about, the volatility when you rely so much on a 3-point line. We talk about it with Louisville. We talk about it with Kentucky. Like, there's going to be massive runs. Because of those massive runs, like they're going to be in a lot of games. They're going to be in a lot of games. So interested to see how they go moving forward.
And McCray, guys, committed to Wake. He was at Wake and then transferred to Jacksonville and then back up to Florida State. So there's a familiarity with him in the ACC. And obviously you can tell when he played last night, it doesn't going to matter. He's in straight attack mode. So
South Carolina kid.
Yeah, he is. He is South Carolina kid. But no,
that was a good matchup for him though, RC, because like he is that physically overwhelmed guy. Like the skill hasn't always been there for Rob, but like physically overwhelming. He went for 29 last night.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of finding his game a little bit at the college level. He's always had the tools, and when you go against some smaller guards, like he's going to be able to have some success.
Yeah. Are they tournament good? We've seen so far right now when it comes to the ACC. I think we know Louisville, we know Duke, we know North Carolina are all very, very legit, right? Well, pretty sure that NC State's going to be there. Pretty sure that Virginia Tech's going to be there when it's all said and done. I think if you look on paper, that next group of teams after that, the Syracuses, the Florida States of the world, the Wake Forest of the world, that's where you need teams to be able to win for this league to get to 6, 7, 8 bids. Maybe is Florida State good enough, Tio? Like, is this something where that is sustainable, or is this a matchup thing, or is this just they got hot on the right night? Like, what do you make of this team, big picture? Are you buying them long term?
They're going to be 5-1 playing against Texas A&M on the 28th. That's going to be their tell-all for me.
I'll tell you who did not look good in their first game was Texas A&M.
Really?
It looked like a lot of guys did not when they went to Oklahoma State and got their brains beat in, and they did not look like a team that understood what buckyball was yet.
Takes time.
Yeah.
That's a big adjustment from the SoCon to the high major, man. Like you can have success, but sometimes like what exactly works and what you think you essentially think like I'm going to get the same players are just going to be a little better.
Right.
And sometimes like when you make that jump up from mid to high, it doesn't always work exactly how you always thought. So you have to find out what
that leads me to an interesting question. So, what's the more difficult jump, going from a high school coach to low to mid major Division I, or going from Samford to the SEC? I think it's probably jumping up to the SEC.
I think it's different. I don't because you look at that league, look at the success those coaches have had when they've all made the jump. They've all had relative success recently. I mean, you say you can preference what you want to say about success. I mean, Forbes has not been horrible at Wake. He's been pretty good. I think we all would agree with that. You look at all those guys, and even when look at so Mike Young, when he had talent before NIL came in, we all like him and thought Virginia Tech. He did something with that, right? Even Miller at Cincinnati needs to get him in the tournament, but he hadn't been horrible. Like that jump, all those guys have made, even at South Carolina, Parrish, that Lamont, that's coach of the year in that league when his first year. And then last year we know was a disappointment. So that jump from leaving that SoCon league to high majors, these coaches have all they've had success doing it. So the blueprint's out there. I don't think it's just difficult. It's a little early to judge whether it'll work or it won't work. They all have their own individual styles and play, and we'll see.
No, RC, we make sweeping conclusions after 3 games here. That's what we do on the
let's do it. Well, I'm a little early to say they won't work completely, where it's a failure, I'd say. But they definitely were not impressive. They were a handful. I mean, they were disappointing to watch against Oklahoma State. We didn't expect to see that. That was an ass kicking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get your teeth kicked in to at least get the coaching across. So
It's
good to do that in the first 3 minutes.
Hey Rob, did I hear you say that you had Virginia Tech as just the 15? Like they're right there for you?
I think that they're
damn good.
I think that they are very, very good. I'm very high on Providence, and they made Providence look they beat Providence a little bit in a gym that
Providence looked good. Providence looked good. They just didn't have Neo.
Yeah, like that's the thing is I think that there are good pieces there, and then you got a guy that is 6'9" point guards that could shoot it the way that he shoots it. They just don't come around very often, man. Like so, I'm very in on Virginia Tech.
He can get his shot off against anybody, man. With that step back going left, there ain't a damn thing you can do about it.
So, do you think I'm too high on them, RC?
No, I don't. I think it's just wide open. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. And we talk about ACC with these guys is. We kind of talk about that forward, but I'm agreeing with you guys. That Virginia Tech, that Virginia, that Miami, that Notre Dame, that Syracuse, like that next 4 to 5 teams, it's like, man, it's so many health and whatever is going to factor into that. I don't know how forget the rankings. Now that you've seen them. It's like, wait a minute now, you got to reevaluate it because there's no way in hell Virginia Tech is finishing where they were preseason picked. What are they, 11th, 12th, or whatever that is, something like that.
You can make an argument that Neo will be able to put up a season that will put him in the conversation for ACC Player of the Year. I don't know if he'll get it. Yeah, even national. Like he's going to average like 20 and 5 assists.
Yeah,
he's a freak, man.
Interesting game coming up. Ohio State. Notre Dame. The reason I say interesting game,
big game for both teams,
for both conferences,
both
big game for both conferences.
Yep.
There's a lot of really intriguing matchups. I think, you know, I'm saying this, but I'm getting assigned these games, so I need to be careful. like the ones where you have to schedule the teams in the 300s analytically, but like the scheduling piece has been pretty entertaining. Like if you really take deep dives into why these coaches are scheduling who they're scheduling, like the games get more and more interesting. Like at first glance, Notre Dame, Ohio State, two football schools, uh, both coaches have kind of gotten some momentum, but not really. It's a chance for both of those guys to kind of make a stamp on their early season and say like, hey, we have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. Like a lot of really interesting contests, kind of in that same vein. Maybe not the Louisville Kentuckies, but that next tier of games is like, man, it could be really fun.
And it
Like
doesn't sound like it means all that much, but those are the games. Like if you're the
matter
ACC,
for the league.
yeah, and you win 3 out of 4 of those games where it's like the middle of the power conference against the middle of another power conference, then you're putting yourself in a spot where you can get 7, 8, maybe even 9 teams to the tournament.
Exactly.
You lose 3 out
And
of
that's what
4.
happened to the SEC last year.
Yep, you lose 3 out of 4, and it's going to be like the top 4 or 5 teams that get in. All right, now we're going to do a segment here that we're going to do every week on the Shooter Shoot podcast. Your shooter of the week. I'm going to go first. I'm going with Brett Decker from Liberty. He is a sophomore that no one really knew about. He's averaging 23 points this season. He is shooting 67% from 3, 67% from 3, T.O. And he has made 6 threes per game, absolutely lighting everybody up for Liberty. I'm all in on these Liberty Flames, by the way. They have no one, they don't start anyone over 6'6". Their center is a 6'4" transfer from West Liberty. Their backcourt goes 5'8", 5'8", and I think that they're going to have a chance to be able to win a lot of games. I could see them being a team that picks somebody off as a 12 seed in the tournament this year. RC, who is your shooter of the week?
I got to go with Michael Brown Jr. from Louisville. I mean, we know who he is. We know how talented he is. But Rob, to do that in a rivalry game like that last night was fun and special to watch. I mean, he's not just doing it; he was leading that group. I thought he fit in great. I don't expect those type of performance all around, every game from him because I think they're too talented and they'll spread the wealth. And he's a willing passer and a really talented passer. But I thought, he showed you what he's capable of last night, and that was pretty special and fun to watch.
Hey, man, I was hard on this team before the season.
Uh-oh, you hard on a lot of teams.
But hey, it's the job, baby. Such is the gig. Ole Miss is 3-0. Just beat a Memphis team who I don't think people realize like that's an actual rivalry. Like Ole Miss, Memphis, like it's not all that far apart from each other. AJ Storr is 8 for 11 from 3 this year. This is a guy that we're like, is he going to be able to fall in line and maybe not be the volume guy that he's been at some of his other stops so far this year? Hadn't been great inside the 3, but 8 of 11 from 3, shooting right at 73%. If they're getting that kind of efficiency from him, Ole Miss is dangerous. So give me AJ Storr.
Yeah, and Elias Cameron looked awesome last night in a win over Memphis. We didn't have a chance to talk about that much, but that was a nice win for Ole Miss. Listen, RC, it's great to have you on the pod, man. It's great to see you, T.O. Enjoy Raleigh, enjoy NC State tonight, and I want a full report later on how good that team ends up being.
Give me the scout, T.O. I need the scout later, man.
I'll send it over to you.
Listen, appreciate you guys. This has been the Shoot Shoot podcast. We'll see you next week.